You've probably had nights where your mind refuses to rest. You replay conversations, decisions, mistakes, small moments that should have been forgotten by now. You lie there, eyes open in the dark, building entire worlds out of what ifs and maybes. What if I said the wrong thing? What if they misunderstood me? What if I made the wrong choice? It's strange, isn't it? You're exhausted, yet your mind won't stop spinning. You crave peace, yet you chase every thought until it burns out. You tell yourself you're just being careful, that thinking more will somehow bring clarity. But deep down, you know that overthinking rarely gives answers. It only gives anxiety dressed as control. So why do we do it? Why does the brain keep creating storms even when we beg for silence? And why does a part of us believe that overthinking is the same as being safe?
When you catch yourself overthinking, it's easy to assume it's about worry. You believe it happens because you're anxious, insecure, or simply too sensitive. You might even blame your personality. That's just how I am. I think too much. And in a way, that makes sense. You've learned that thinking is what keeps you from making mistakes. If you analyze enough, plan enough, anticipate enough, you won't get hurt. That's the logic your mind uses. So you prepare every text before sending it. You rehearse conversations in your head. You replay every moment that went wrong, hoping next time you'll do better. You believe that thinking more equals acting smarter. That if you can just predict every outcome, you'll stay safe from pain. But here's what actually happens. Your thoughts start looping. You analyze one problem from 10 different angles, but none of them bring peace. You question your decisions, then question yourself for questioning them. You want control, but the more you think, the less control you feel. Because overthinking doesn't lead to certainty. It feeds on it. It turns the unknown into something you fear, not something you can explore. And that's where most people stop, assuming it's just a bad habit of an anxious mind. But the truth goes deeper than that. Overthinking isn't just about fear of mistakes. It's about fear of powerlessness, a quiet, hidden terror that you might not be in control of what happens next.
At its core, overthinking is your brain's attempt to protect you from uncertainty. The human mind is wired to predict outcomes. It evolved that way to survive. When early humans faced danger, their brains constantly scanned for patterns, looking for signs that might keep them alive. That same survival mechanism still lives inside you. But instead of lions or storms, your threats now are emotional: rejection, failure, disappointment. And because your brain can't fight or run from these modern dangers, it tries something else: control through thought. This is where the overthinking loop begins. Each worry feels like an unfinished task, something you have to solve. So your brain replays it, searching for closure that never arrives. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect, the mind's tendency to cling to incomplete experiences. It's why you can't stop thinking about what you should have said or what could go wrong tomorrow. Your brain believes that by keeping the thought alive, it's keeping you prepared. But preparation is not the same as control. And when uncertainty cannot be solved by logic, which most emotional experiences can't, your thoughts start spiraling instead. Another part of this loop comes from perfectionism. If you grew up equating mistakes with failure or disappointment, your brain learned that being careful equals being loved. So now, overthinking becomes a form of self-preservation. It's not just about getting things right, it's about proving you are right, proving you're worthy, proving you can't be blamed. And every time something feels uncertain, an unanswered text, a strange silence, a difficult choice, your brain floods you with thoughts, trying to fix the feeling of being powerless. But here's the paradox. The more you think, the less powerful you feel. Because the real power isn't in controlling outcomes. It's in accepting that you can't. That's the part the overthinking mind never learned.
Imagine you send a message to someone and they don't reply.
Hours pass, then days. Your mind starts writing stories. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they lost interest. Maybe you did something wrong. You scroll through your last words, analyzing every line for clues. But what you're really doing isn't analysis, it's fear management. You're trying to turn emotional uncertainty into logical clarity. You want the situation to make sense because not knowing feels unbearable. The same thing happens in bigger ways. You stay in jobs that drain you because uncertainty feels scarier than dissatisfaction. You delay decisions, convincing yourself you're still thinking it through, when really you're afraid of being wrong. You chase control in a world that refuses to give it. And all the while, your body is tense, your mind racing, your breath shallow. But you tell yourself it's productive. You call it responsibility, maturity, awareness. But overthinking is none of those things. It's the mind's way of avoiding surrender. It's how the ego hides from vulnerability by pretending it's solving a problem that doesn't need solving. And yet there's something deeply human in that. We all crave a sense of control in a life that's unpredictable. We all want to believe that thinking harder will save us from regret. But when you peel back the layers, overthinking is not about logic. It's about longing. A longing to feel safe in a world that never promises safety. A longing to be certain in a life that never guarantees anything. That's why it's so exhausting, because you're trying to think your way out of being human.
The truth is, your mind overthinks not because it's broken, but because it cares. It's doing what it was designed to do, protect you. It just doesn't realize that overprotection can hurt you too. You don't need to silence your thoughts. You just need to see them for what they are. Attempts at control, not wisdom. Next time you catch yourself spiraling, pause for a second. Notice what emotion sits underneath the thought. Is it fear, guilt, insecurity? Often, what you're truly searching for isn't an answer, it's comfort. And comfort doesn't come from solving everything. It comes from allowing what's unsolved to exist without destroying your peace. You can't stop your mind from thinking, that's its nature. But you can stop believing every thought deserves your attention. You can remind yourself that uncertainty isn't danger, it's the space where life happens. So maybe the next time your thoughts start to spiral, you can whisper, I don't need to know everything right now. Because the moment you stop fighting uncertainty, something softens. Your breath deepens, your shoulders drop, and for a brief, quiet moment, your mind finally rests. Overthinking isn't a flaw, it's just your brain's way of saying, I'm scared of what I can't control. And maybe that's where real peace begins. Not in silencing your thoughts, but in learning to sit beside them and letting life unfold anyway.